Have you ever stood in a room right as four people start to sing, and suddenly, the sound just completely surrounds you? It literally fills the space with this overwhelming energy. That, my friends, is the acoustic magic of a ringing chord. It feels exactly like magic, right? But, as we're going to see in this explainer, it's actually deeply rooted in some really precise mathematics and human anatomy. Let's break down exactly how this happens. We are diving into a pretty captivating mystery today. I mean, have you ever heard a quartet sing and swore? Absolutely swore there was a fifth voice soaring way up above them? Or maybe you felt this deep, booming bass note that nobody in the room was actually singing? People have charmingly called this the fifth voice for ages. But honestly, that term kind of undersells what's really happening. It's not just one extra ghost voice floating around, it's a massive acoustic expansion. So how on earth do four perfectly normal human voices combine to trick reality like this? Well, to figure that out, we've got to look closer at what a single note actually is.
Section 1. The hidden sounds inside notes.
To understand all of this, we really have to look at the invisible building blocks of sound. Because every single note you sing, it's actually a stack of hidden sounds. When you open your mouth to sing just one pitch, you probably think you're making just one sound wave. But nope, you're actually producing a whole ladder of sounds, all at the exact same time. The bottom rung is the note you'd name on a piano, but right on top of it are layers and layers of hidden pitches. To really grasp this, we need to talk about speed. Sound is just fast shaking, right? And we measure those shakes per second in hertz. So if a bass sings a low A, the air around them shakes exactly 110 times every single second. That's the fundamental frequency. 110 hertz just means 110 shakes per second. A low note shakes slowly and a high note shakes incredibly fast. Understanding this simple measurement, hertz, well, that's your master key to unlocking why chords ring. And this just brilliantly illustrates the beautiful math behind it. The hidden sounds inside that note, they aren't random at all. They multiply the main 110 hertz pitch by perfectly simple whole numbers, 2, 3, 4, and so on. So your main note is 110 hertz. The second sound, hiding right above it, is times 2, or 220 hertz. The third is times 3, or 330 hertz. It just climbs up by exactly 110 each time. And if you look closely, notice how the musical gaps between these hidden pitches actually get smaller and smaller the higher you climb up the ladder. This isn't just some abstract music theory. This is the literal physical reality of what comes out of your mouth every time you sing. Now, check this out. Notice how sounds 4, 5, 6, and that slightly flat, bluesy seventh sound naturally create a perfect barbershop seventh chord, hiding right there inside a single note. It's wild. This pattern, this list in its natural order is called the harmonic series. And listen, you don't have to be a math genius to appreciate this. What's so incredible is that the bright, doomy sol of a major chord is already built into the sheer physics of a single pitch. And that seventh sound, the one that sits naturally just a little bit flat, that is exactly what gives barbershop singing its legendary, locked-in flavor. Now, just to clear up a super common terminology mix-up, think of this like counting floors in a building. Harmonics start on the first floor, while overtones call that the ground floor and start counting one level up. You'll hear coaches and singers toss around both terms all the time. If someone says the second overtone, they're talking about the exact same sound as the third harmonic. Actually, it's just two different habits for counting the exact same stack of hidden sounds. So whether you call them overtones, harmonics, or partials, just remember you're talking about those natural whole number rungs on the ladder. Section 2. Finding the boost zones. Okay, so now that we know these hidden sounds exist perfectly ordered in the air, how do we, as singers, actually control them? Like, why do some chords sound kind of dull while others literally rattle your teeth? Well, your voice is essentially a two-part machine. Your vocal folds make the shaking pitch, and your mouth shapes what we call boost zones, or formants, to create vowels. Think of your vocal folds down in your throat as the maker. They buzz and produce the raw stack of all those hidden harmonic numbers we just looked at. But then, that raw sound has to travel up through your throat and mouth, the shaper. This area acts like a highly customizable, adjustable room. By tweaking the shape of this room, you can actively boost certain hidden sounds and muffle others. So, here's the absolutely crucial point. When four singers match their vowels perfectly, they put their anatomical boost zones in the exact same spots. This allows all their hidden sounds to stack up into a brilliant ring. Honestly, this is why vocal coaches are so obsessed with vowel matching. The boost zones don't care what note you're singing, they only care about the physical shape of your mouth. If all four singers shape their mouths the exact same way for an ah vowel, they're all boosting the exact same frequency zones. The hidden sounds from all four voices land on the same speeds, pile up perfectly, and boom, they explode into that brilliant ringing sound. Section 3. Pure tuning versus piano tuning. But here is where we run into a pretty major conflict. Why don't pianos and standard choirs always create this ring? Well, because a pure major third is about 14 cents lower than a piano's major third. This means if you tune a chord to a keyboard, the hidden sounds will clash and completely fail to lock. You can have perfectly matched vowels, but you're still going to hit a mathematical wall. See, pianos use something called equal temperament, which means the octave is chopped up into 12 identical, mathematically compromised steps so you can play in any key. But nature doesn't work in equal chops. To get the hidden sounds of four voices to literally stack on top of each other, you have to use just intonation, tuning to the pure natural harmonic series. Remember that natural seventh we talked about earlier? Yeah, it's significantly lower than the seventh key on a piano. This is why barbershop singers tune entirely by ear. They're trying to erase this specific slow wobble, adjusting their pitches until the beating vanishes and the chord locks. If you try to tune to a piano, the hidden sounds just won't perfectly align. Instead of stacking up smoothly, they'll rub against each other, creating this pulsing volume that goes wah, wah, wah. The closer you get to a perfect match, the slower that wobble becomes. And when the wobble completely stops, when the sound suddenly turns glassy, smooth, and perfectly still, you've officially locked the chord. Section 4. The notes your ears create. All right, once that chord is perfectly locked, we reach the real climax of this explainer. What's absolutely shocking is that a strong, locked chord physically forces the human ear to fabricate brand new bonus notes that nobody in the room is even singing. Seriously, you heard that correctly. We've been talking about the hidden sounds piling up in the air, but this secondary effect, it doesn't happen in the room at all. Human hearing isn't perfectly flat. When your eardrum gets hit by multiple strong, incredibly clean, locked-in pitches, the anatomy of your ear actually distorts slightly and creates its own pitches. These are called combination tones. It's a literal biological reaction to pure acoustics. Here's how crazy this gets. If one singer hits 660 Hz and another hits 440, your ear actually does the math, subtracting the two to invent a booming 220 Hz difference tone deep underneath the chord. Think about how mind-blowing that math is. 660 minus 440 leaves 220. That 220 Hz note is a full octave below the 440 note, so without any bass singer actually hitting that low note, your own ear generates a booming bass foundation. Meanwhile, a summation tone adds them together. 660 plus 440 equals 1100 Hz, adding this high, faint sparkle right on top. This right here is the true secret behind that expanded sound, where four people can somehow sound like an 8-piece choir. Section 5. Locking the perfect chord. Okay, let's piece this all together. We've got the math of the overtones, the anatomy of the boost zones, pure ear tuning, and combination tones literally happening inside our heads. So how do we actually execute this on stage? Well, first you need a steady, friendly twang in your voice to pour energy directly into those high boost zones where the ring lives. Now, twang isn't about pushing or squeezing your throat. It's just a bright, forward, easy sound, kind of like a friendly nah. By gently narrowing the space just above your vocal folds, you intentionally create a massive boost zone right up in the high frequencies. When all four singers maintain a steady amount of this twang, they flood those upper overtones with energy, causing the ring to just light up the room. And crucially, you must avoid vibrato. Why? Because wavering your pitch smears those carefully stacked hidden sounds across different speeds, causing the ring to flicker and break. Don't get me wrong, vibrato can be gorgeous for a solo pop song or a big opera aria. But remember the physics here. A ringing chord requires the exact synchronization of hertz speeds. If you're wavering your pitch up and down, you're taking those hidden harmonics and constantly sliding them out of alignment. The hidden sounds just can't park in one spot to stack up. To lock a chord, you really have to hold the sound incredibly still. So when you combine the pure math of hertz with matched vocal anatomy, a steady twang, and perfectly still pure tuning, you build an overwhelming, expanded sound. This formula right here is your ultimate recipe. Clean tone ensures you have strong hidden sounds. Matched vowels align your anatomical boost zones. Pure tuning erases the wobble and stacks the frequencies precisely. And steady twang acts as the gasoline, fueling the higher overtones so the air reinforces the sound, and your very own ears invent massive, booming bass notes down below. To leave you with a final thought today, what happens when we align our emotions too? Because the ultimate secret ingredient really is shared emotion. When singers truly feel the same thing, their bodies naturally relax into making this incredible scientific phenomenon possible. You can have all the math and physics perfect, but if it lacks heart, it's just going to leave listeners cold. What's so beautiful is that science and emotion actually pull in the exact same direction here. When four singers are fully emotionally connected to a song, their bodies release tension, their vocal tracks relax into those ideal steady shapes, and the acoustics just naturally follow. It's the place where deep human connection literally rewrites the physics of the air around us. How incredible is that? I really hope this changed how you listen to music. Keep exploring, and I'll catch you in the next explainer.